The Hells Angels, the world's largest outlaw biker club, have been with us for 50 years. In Britain, they're viewed as a curious motorcycle sideshow.
Hells Angels in front of the Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh. He's loving it. Have Hells Angels become respectable? Well, heaven forbid.
While in other countries, they're figures of fear that trade on their terrifying image of lawlessness, violence and murder. In this programme, we trace the Hells Angels' history from lowly biker outcasts to burgeoning multinational corporation. We meet the Christian ex-Angels.
I've been dead 4 times, clinically dead over 12 minutes. I know what I saw, I know where I went, and I know what happened to me.
And follow the special agent who spent 20 years investigating them.
One member, after one of his Confederates was sentenced to 41 years in prison, said to me in court, "Motherfucker, you've taken this way too personal, you're dead, motherfucker."
And we take an in-depth look at the most violent episode in recent biker history. A murderous shootout and brawl caught on video.
Those outlaws were acting nothing much higher than an animal.
In my 21 years, it was the most violent thing I'd seen happening all at one time.
I grew up in Detroit in the ghetto. I've seen shootings, I've seen everything. And I said, after all that, I'm gonna bite the dust in a casino.
And as a result of this shocking incident, the biggest ever show trial of biker gangs in American history is set to begin in July this year. There are approximately 4,000 outlaw biker clubs in existence today. But who are these self-styled outlaws? They've been variously described as organised criminals, anti-establishment rebels, and middle-aged bikers living off an out-of-date image. But many simply ride their bikes for fun and are not involved in any unlawful activities whatsoever.
Some people's misconception of us used to be all the old biting chickens' heads off, bathing right, never wash, for 2 years at a time. General knackers. Most of us, you'll find, are like everyone else and live on fast food, unfortunately. Cooked, not raw, straight off the chicken's head. Most are working, and can you imagine having to put up with some who hadn't bathed for 2 years? It's not on.
One of the oldest and largest motorcycle clubs, with chapters in 13 countries, call themselves the Outlaws. Although fiercely independent, they share with all biker gangs the code of the 1%er, meaning they're the 1% who openly reject society's rules.
Every person has the individual right to be that little bit different. Everyone doesn't have to wear a black suit, black shoes, a certain tie. We're not clowns. I mean, that's probably what the problem is. I mean, some people would like the whole world full of clowns. I mean, they're even trying to do it now with Dolly and such like with the sheep. So, what can I say? We're not clowns, we're brothers.
1% patch holding clubs are unique in the world of motorcycling clubs. The loyalty of each member to the other member is more fierce, is considered one's religion, one's family, one's everything, one's life, one's very life, and the club comes first.
The important thing if someone wants to become an outlaw is for him to be prepared to put some effort in to get some effort back. You only get back what you put in brotherhood. You feel a bond with each other. It's about riding your bikes and enjoying yourselves, meeting up at different functions. We go on runs together, we have shows where we get together and generally enjoy ourselves.
outlaw bikers have been in existence for more than 100 years. But their incubation into a recognizable phenomenon occurred with the return of battle-scarred American troops from the Second World War.
They've been ripped out of their social world, sent away, subject to horrible things, and intense discipline, and then just chucked back. If you put that together and then add wheels, you've got the possibility of an outlaw motorcycle gang.
There were veterans that came back that did not subscribe to the idea of having a ranch house in the suburbs with 1.5 cars and 2.3 kids.
And Don brings me up to date on his hard day. Yes, I know. A wife's first duty is to listen.
I can imagine that just rejecting all of that lot and not becoming an insurance broker would be enormously appealing.
Enjoying the long open roads and perfect West Coast climate, these roving bands of grimy renegades were largely ignored. But that changed in 1947, when reports of drunkenness, anarchy and a biker blowout emanated from the small California farming town of Hollister.
It was called the Hollister Riot, but it was no riot. It was just a few guys performing stunts in the street. And there was a reporter from the San Francisco Chronicle who covered the event, took a picture. The picture was posed, and that's the birth of the outlaw myth.
And dragging them kicking and snarling into mainstream culture was Hollywood, depicting these unwashed malcontents as rebels riding the Wild West astride iron horses.
These are Mongol hordes who are coming to take over the town, beat everyone up, kill, maim, rape. The bikers were depicted as nothing that you want in your hometown.
They're on the run. A record of rape and violence, sex offenses, and homosexuality, whose members pose a threat to all of California. That's how they're described by the state attorney general.
Their number one characteristic seems to be that they're all badly in need of a bath.
The media's influence has been immense from the very beginning. The way in which they deal with real events, the way they portray them, the way they over-dramatize them, means that there's an intensification of panic. So in that sense, the media have been absolutely crucial in creating the image of the sort of outlaw motorcyclist as we understand it today.
Over the years, one club has hogged the headlines, earning them the reputation as the biggest, baddest and meanest of all outlaw biker clubs.
The FBI says tonight it has rounded up top members of the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club.
There are 17 other murders police believe are tied to the Hells Angels.
There were opening arguments in the trial of members of a Hells Angels motorcycle gang on charges ranging from murder to drug pushing.
After the break, we find out exactly what it takes to ride with the Hells Angels.
Hells Angels, in the 60s and 70s, when I was there, okay? 10 times worse than your worst nightmare.